How many podcasts do you need from London Heathrow? The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. How many podcasts do you need to advertise on to reach 75% of all US weekly podcast listeners, let's say? Edison Research has crunched the data. We link to that today from our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Podfest, one of the world's largest podcast conferences, opened in Orlando, in Florida, in the US. Send us some pictures. Tell us what's going on. We'd love to hear. 36 episodes of Joe Rogan disappeared. Spotify said it was a technical issue and they fixed it. At 3:30 p.m. on Thursday, the podcast show in London had 5,296 delegates over the 2 days. There's an interview with Jason Carter in the latest Podland podcast today. Twitter Spaces recordings may not disappear after 30 days in future, according to data found by Chris Messina. The BBC announced a number of cuts to its services. BBC Radio 4 Extra, mainly a station playing archive material, will be moved online only. The total cuts will save around $630 million. The government required them to make savings of $359 million. Robert Riggs from the True Crime Reporter podcast has won an award for the TV adaptation of the show. It won a Silver Telly Award. Radio Days Asia, which will have a significant podcast track, has announced its venue as the Shangri-La Hotel in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. The event is to be held next to Radio Asia from the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union. From last year, if you want to watch a session about the Australian podcast industry, that's now available. You'll find that linked in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Audio company Liju released their Q1 22 financial report. Net revenue was up 4%. Audio entertainment monthly active users increased 11% year-on-year. They operate a popular podcast and audio social networking app in China. Triton Digital released the Canadian podcast ranker for April. Coming soon, a new podcast service from Ukraine, Elysian, which will unite listeners from all apps and let them interact with your podcast by voice. You can join the pre-release email. Evergreen Podcasts has added 4 new podcasts. The company's new studio complex is nearing completion. Audio Boom has also launched 2 original podcasts. And your next job might come with Spotify Premium. Spotify for Work allows employers to offer Spotify Premium as an employee perk. And in podcast news, Jar Audio has launched Mobile Diaries with T-Mobile, a brand new podcast about modern digital life and the mobile technology that makes it possible. In Podland news this week, we recorded in Shaw's studios at the podcast show. There are interviews with Shaw, RSS, the podcast show organisers and Lemonada Media. And we inexplicably have a new sponsor this week alongside Buzzsprout and Squadcast. Nobody remembers signing the contract for this one though. And PodChat this fortnight features Hari Gopalakrishna, the founder of remote recording and live streaming platform Boomcaster. He talks about how indie podcasters are underserved by current solutions, why audio production quality is becoming key, making podcasting accessible for all, and more. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.